Today, I was reminded that success isn't a lottery ticket. It's not random, it's a plan.
Hey everyone, welcome back to day 11 of the Undegreed journey. Today's day was packed with activities, so let's dive into it. As ritual, I started my day off with a data structures and algorithms lecture, and we moved forward to complete our study of queues. This whole session was about tackling advanced questions that use queues, and most of them were very interesting. We were revising how queues, the first in, first out data structure, are crucial for solving problems where the order of operations or elements matters. We looked at a few problems, like one called first unique character in a string. For this, a queue is perfect for tracking the order of characters as they appear, while a hash map or dictionary is used to count their frequencies. We also tackled the problem remove k digits. The goal here is to get the smallest possible number after removing k digits. This is a great problem that uses a DEC, a double-ended queue, to build a new, smaller number, comparing digits as we go. But the hardest question we tackled was at the end, sliding window maximum. This is a classic hard problem where you need to find the maximum value in a window as it slides across an array. A DEC is the key here, too, helping to maintain a list of potential maximums in an incredibly efficient way. The professor did an excellent job explaining the core logic, but what I really love is his teaching style. Before he explains the solution, he gives us time to come up with our own pseudocode and our own approach. We try to implement it, see what happens, and then he shows us the optimal solution. We get to match our pseudocode with his, and it instantly shows us which areas we're lacking in and what we need to work on. It's a great way to learn from our mistakes. Next up was my daily LeetCode practice. Since I had just finished that lecture, I wanted to implement the logic I just learned into real-time LeetCode problems. I started with the questions we had just discussed. My first question was first unique character in a string. This was an interesting question, but it's marked as easy and I felt confident. You just have to find the very first character that only appears once. As planned, I used a queue to keep track of the characters and a dictionary to store their frequencies. It worked perfectly. Easy peasy. The next question I solved was remove k digits. This is the one where you're given a string of numbers, like 143 for 2219, and an IK value, like 3. You have to remove 3 digits to make the resulting number the smallest one possible. For this, I imported a DEC. The approach involves comparing adjacent digits, and if a new digit is smaller than the one at the end of the DEC, you pop the larger one out. You build a new number this way. It was a solid medium-level question, but I got it done. Next was another easy question, first letter to appear twice. The goal is simple, find the first letter in a string that is a duplicate. For example, if C appears twice, you return C. It has to be the first one to be repeated. Even though this wasn't in the lecture, I knew I could solve it. I attempted it myself and was all in, totally confident that my solution was correct. But as soon as I ran the code, I got an error. I was so frustrated, thinking, why? Why am I getting an error? My code looks all right. I was stuck for a bit, but I finally realized my mistake. It was a single, tiny change. My original code was finding all the frequencies first. The correct logic is to loop through, store the frequency, and as soon as you find a letter that's already in your scene set, you just return that letter and break the loop. You don't need to keep finding the rest of the frequencies. That was it and my code ran. Next up was my daily trading session. Today, instead of trading the London session, I traded the New York session. As usual, I jumped onto my trading terminal and opened my platform. I started by analyzing gold, XAUEUSD, and how it moved during the previous session. In yesterday's video, you'll remember I reviewed my trading strategy with the help of my mentor, TJR. Today, I applied that reviewed strategy and tried to connect the dots, analyzing both the S&P 500 and gold. I took 2 trades, one on my demo account and one on my real account. On my demo account, I took a trade on the S&P 500. This was my first time trading it, so instead of risking my real account, which is already down and close to getting blown out, I chose to trade on demo. It's an index one have no prior experience with. As expected, the S&P 500 moved against me and completely violated my strategy. I took a loss, but only on the demo account. But that wasn't the end of the day. The most interesting part was the redemption. I applied my reviewed strategy to gold on my real prop firm account. According to my strategy, I needed to short gold. I placed a sell order for 0.2 lots. This was a do-or-die trade. I was only about $100 away from blowing the account. Either I would lose it all, or I would win this trade. Market underscore was underscore really underscore testing underscore my underscore patience. It was testing whether I was a strong believer in my strategy or if I would just follow my FOMO instincts. The price was teasing me, going near and near to my stop loss, which was near the point of blowing my account. It was trying to get me to click that sell button and just book the loss. But I was a firm believer in my strategy. I waited. I patiently waited for the price to move. I had my stop loss set for about a $50 to $100 loss, and my take profit set for $200. It was either blow the account or recover a huge chunk of my prior losses in one trade. And then, bam! It hit my take profit. I recovered all of my losses in one good trade. After that excitement, it was time for my daily language practice. Today was German. I extended my streak to day 298, just 2 days away from that 300-day milestone. As soon as I opened the app, I saw I had fallen to second place on the leaderboard. There was only one name I had to climb past to get back to first, so I got to work. Today's session was all about talking about hobbies. We learned phrases like, do you like to speak, and mein Bruder spielt Fußball and Volleyball, which means my brother plays football and volleyball. We also saw wandern sie manchmal, Frau Klum. Do you hike often, Ms. Klum, and sie joggt nie, she never jogs. It was basically all about discussing our hobbies and asking questions using the past, present, and future tenses. For example, wo heißt dein Opa? What is the name of your grandfather? It was a complete package of using German conversationally. And by the end of today's practice I climbed back up to the top of the weekly leaderboard via the help of Match Madness challenges. And that was all for the language practice. After completing my language practice, I went straight to the gym. Today was push day, which means I had to target my chest and shoulders. I did 2 sets each of incline machine chest press and flat barbell bench press. For shoulders, I did 2 sets of machine rear delt flies, 2 sets of machine lateral raises, and 2 sets of shoulder press. Next up was my daily reading session. I'm currently reading 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. Today's objective was to complete another 2 chapters, Chapter 5 and Chapter 6. Chapter 5 was called Last Mover Advantage. This was a fascinating take because it argues against the common idea of first mover advantage. Thiel's point is that being the first to a market doesn't matter, what matters is being the last mover. The goal is to be the one who creates a long-lasting monopoly by dominating a niche and then scaling, ensuring no one can come after you and do it better. Chapter 6 was You Are Not a Lottery Ticket. This was a really powerful chapter. It contrasts indefinite optimism, which is the vague hope that the future will just get better without a specific plan, with definite optimism, which means having a concrete, deliberate plan to build a better future. Thiel's point is that success isn't random like a lottery ticket, it's the result of intentional design and hard work. The final task of the day was to follow up on my machine learning project. As you know, I wrote my code for multiple linear regression yesterday, but I wanted to solidify my understanding of the theory behind it. So, I started by reviewing the basics from a video on the Data Tab YouTube channel. It started with the core definitions. What is multiple linear regression? It's a statistical technique used to predict the value of one variable based on the value of 2 or more other variables. The variable you're trying to predict, like a housing price, is called the dependent variable. The variables you're using to make the prediction, like the bedrooms, bathrooms, and a square foot area, are called the independent variables. Now, this is why the theory is so important. In my project yesterday, after I added standardization, I noticed that the housing price was mostly being affected by just one variable, and the extra variables were basically doing nothing. This led me down a rabbit hole of new questions about the assumptions of multiple linear regression, which the video then explained. What is multicollinearity? This is when your independent variables are correlated with each other. What is homoscedasticity? The assumption that the errors, or the differences between predicted and actual values, are evenly spread. What is meant by a linear relationship but independence of errors? What are normally distributed errors? And most importantly, why is multicollinearity a problem, and how do you handle it? The video was great, it basically answered all 5 of these questions. It also covered how to calculate the regression, how to interpret the results, and what dummy variables are. It was a really helpful deep dive into the theory. I didn't get to my quant prep for differentiation today because of this, but I will surely complete my differentiation tomorrow. And that was all for day 11. Thanks for watching.
Today was the comeback. But the real test is tomorrow. Can I keep it?